Hello again, this is KRBrickBot, and this is Tobot V Season 3 Number 2 Wild Chief. And not Wild Jeep as I said on my initial announcement video, that was my bad. Again, here's the Season 3 styling packaging, the diagonal plating, the red accent color for Wild Chief thematic colors, orange Number 2 Tobot V Season 3 Wild Chief. That space hangar background, the car mode, Toki mode, robot mode. Bottom of the box is the more information and such. Top of the box is the Korean name with the grid work again. Another side portrait. And that's about it. Now on to the review. So we have here a red Jeep sports utility vehicle SUV. And it has the signature shape of a Jeep of a non-specific brand. It's very blocky. It is quite squared and blocked, with a little bit of slope on the forward windscreen. The detailing and sculpting is quite excellent. The red doors, those clear-cut doors, and the white striping pattern here. These separate plastic silver windows with the painted in black. There's a lot more paint on this one, but it is very well applied. These black painted handlebars, the side gas cap, this side radiator vent, the radiator heater I'm thinking, the windows, the little handlebars, and these little bolts, these little door hinges, and a little sidebar here. And the windscreen is also perfectly painted black. And there's white painted grills on the top overhang there, and some windshield wipers on the top of the windscreen. That is quite unusual. Well, I've seen some military Jeeps that have it on the top, but this looks like a more civilian utility vehicle, so I think it should have been on the bottom, but yeah, but I guess it's not that much of a big deal. And the top is a completely plain front half, and the back half is some thick rectangular roof bars with the metal toe key mounted on top here. The separately molded bolts on the side here, and visible flat top. But that front is also it's very SUV detailed. Like two big transparent blue headlights molded on the same piece as these tiny little side lights. Looks like surrounded by white paint and surrounded by silver. And a 2-layer grille. It's a little V branding mark there, although unpainted, unlike the show model, but that is not much of a big deal either. Although if they had the gold on the side here, I think that could have been put on the tiny little V. Though it's so tiny, it might be a little tricky to do that. But anyway, the bumper is also very nicely detailed. Like these two big bull bars and little rings and hooks and a big winch. All non-functioning, of course. The bumper flows along to the side mud guards and these grill details that are also functional hinges. And there's also a separately molded tiny little piece here. Looks like it might be on the same part as this. And like I said, it flows along with a black painted bottom bar and a step ladder there. And the other mud guard with this X-marked fuel canister, I'm assuming. And it comes along to the back to this rather thick back bumper. With the gold painted rear lights, in addition to the transparent red back lights, and these filled in bull bars. Guess they are filled in just to make sure it's reinforced. And the back is pretty plain and is also painted red. It's painted red on silver, but I think it's a pretty good color matching and not that noticeable unless you look at the edges there. And this looks like plenty of space for custom license plate stickers if you're into decorating. And the other side is just basically symmetrical to the other side, no asymmetrical detailing there. And those tires are decently off-road looking, maybe a little thin, but yeah, they can give it enough ground clearance for some rough terrain. There's not too much robot cable down there that really gets it caught on too much stuff. Pretty simple tire design, 6 spokes, 6 cutouts, no branding. And yeah, the wheels can do, you know, emotives, transformational emotives. I mean, this really looks like just a plain down-to-earth Jeep in the midst of all the new generation sci-fi Tobot styles. Like some of the vehicles, even though they're pretty civilian, sometimes they look a little bit out there with some animal motifs in the robot mode or extra flair. But this one is, yeah, this one's pretty subdued. It really looks like it's maybe a natural evolution to the original Tobot line. It kind of looks like some of those old Tobots, but with more detail and more realistic proportions as far as unlicensed cars go. Yeah, so this is an excellent large Jeep car toy for display and play. Large car comparisons. So I suppose this works with the standard 124. Once again, the big contrast with the old Tobots and the new Tobots. Just the overall aesthetics and other than size. But I suppose Wild Chief and New Soul Avenger Axe both look like civilian utility vehicles. But maybe this one looks more rugged for the jungles as well. The V transformation. The Toki here, and then there's a big slot here, which you can just slide in there and then wedge it to twist it and unlatch it. Get some gravity, can do it. Coming down to the legs. Fold them out all the way. Find those feet, fold them out, take these sidebars and then clip them on the front. There are little clips here. Fold back those wheels. And this blue roller, this little roller wheel, it doesn't really roll on the ground with the other wheels and it really doesn't activate any gimmicks. It hits this little section, which makes the head pop up. And that means his head can pop out. And he can Warpooth, Peekaboo head, Wild Peep, then collapse those mud guards in, and then fold those down to fill in the torso area.
Oh no, sliding joints that have no friction.
Well, fortunately, they do have clips on them, so these securely clip on the front, and then when they rotate around, freely gravity spin around, there are clips that clip into the neck area. Yeah, so I think the sliders with extra really strong reinforcement on large toys is fine, but I guess, you know, small slider joints that rely just on the malleable friction of just the piece itself is gonna wear out. But not these slider joints. Turn these shoulders around. Turn the bicep swivels. And then plug the Toki on the shoulder. Wild Chief is a straightforward, no extra bells and whistles Jeep. And his robot mode is also very straightforward, no extra bells and whistles. It's a robot man car, and a very clean back. It's a very all silver there. Even like the functional backside of the hinges and the mud guards, it all forms a very clean shape. In addition to these newly revealed ridges. Yeah, very clean back, no cable. There's not much newly revealed leg details, it's just mostly the size of the car and the bull bars, the roof bull bars incorporated into the robot leg design. It does have he does have vent toes, and the insides are also simply detailed with some just extra ridges and lines in there. And those back rear bumpers form the knees, and yet the shins are new details. Like these silver pipes. Looks like I already got them nicked on the paint there. I guess by transformation, yeah, but yeah, that was a little manhandling I guess I did. And some red painted S's. The upper sides are also nicely filled on all sides. One screw panel over there, so there's no hollow legs there. And they're also nicely proportioned. Yeah, a good ratio of the thigh length and the leg length, unlike this ridiculous proportion here, which connects to the pelvic area. It's pretty simple. There is no central detail here, just a little painted gray sides and a little gold here, a little bulging screw hole there. Yeah, I guess they really couldn't put it anywhere else. Lower there. The back is very plain here. The arms are also newly revealed. They're pretty detailed with the red on the painted silver and white. Some white painted cuffs. And some red knuckles. Red knuckles on these hands that aren't compatible with anything, but they do look very detailed. 5-finger detailed. The stepped white details on the doors are also carried over on the shoulders. And it is an excellent usage of these functional H-clips to be also used for the clip of the toe key. So there's no extra extraneous clip on the robot mode. Yeah, so that's very resourceful. And if you don't like the separated look of these shoulders, I suppose you could just leave them half transformed. Just to leave the windscreens out like this. I imagine this is how a mini version of Wild Chief would look like. Just omitting the hinges to minimalize the budget. But then the toe key would be out of sight on the back, or you could just leave it on the leg. Some extra leg bulk on the numbers. So there's a couple of these Season 3 Tobots that requires the key to be relocated, but there are a couple that you can either leave it there or just aesthetically relocate it. Yeah, and some like Tachyon, you don't have to remove it all to transform technically. Like most of the other Tobot Vs, it's also a humanoid face, but Wild Chief's head is looking more robotic. Because for one, he has no nose. And his mouth is a puppet-like robotic lower jaw, like just a square jaw. Surrounded by a black painted chin and gold painted eyeliner. Face paint, stripes that go all the way around. And it's a very blocky head, a very blocky flat top head so that it blends in with the vehicle mode roof. Like some other blocky headed robots, robot jeeps. Yep, it's like Hound. He kind of looks like Hound. Not really, but blockheads. Some pretty excellent light piping. And where most light piping would just leave a big block on the back of the head and in the eyes, it's also incorporated in the other design, like the side here. The sides are also transparent, and even the forehead has some 3 stripes and a circle. Forehead light also looks familiar. Similar size. Yeah, it's just a pure coincidence. Articulation. The head is on a ball joint where the ball joint is on the head, so he does have a lot of up and down and side to side and all around. Yep, that's how his ball socket head is. Shoulders go all the way around. With hardly anything to obtrude it except these clips on the top of his roof. Which then the detaching shoulders should clear it out. And the, I guess, loose transformational backboard butterfly. Arms all the way out 90. Double elbow for transformation and the bicep swivel for transformation. Yay for bicep swivels that are incorporated into the transformation. That's really the only consistent way you're gonna get bicep swivels in Tobots. Legs forward that much and legs back that much. Little bit of junk in the way. Full spreads. Full spreads on these visible ratchets on the side. Limited size swivels. I think there are some stoppers in there, so you might have to cut some of that out if you want to go all the way around. Knees at 90. And yeah, if you move this out of the way, you can get more bend. And the outward foot tilt. And a transformational ab crunch. That's a bonus transformation joint. 2-click ab crunch. And back arc, you just end up untransforming some of this. There is a little stopper here, so hypothetically, if you shave that off, you could also do a proper back arc. So bonus transformational bicep swivels and an ab crunch makes him a really posable Tobot. Large bot comparison. Smaller than the old Tobots, but right in there with leader class. Leader class. Oh yeah, and when transforming it back, it is very easy to forget to extend those wheels. So you just have a very flat-facing, really invisible wheel-looking front, and the wheels that stick out from the back, so... Don't forget this, it's very subtle. Poop. Again, I have the same verdict as everyone else who reviewed this. It is a very excellent Tobot toy, and maybe one of the best in a long while, because it has all the articulation joints thanks to incorporating them into transformation. Both biceps and thighs. And extra ab crunch and such. And a really good head. Because of course, you know, most Tobots and Korean toys don't have biceps and or thigh swivels. They usually have one or the other on some occasions. This is so close, but it's lower, not upper. But yeah, but even as limited as the thigh swivels are, that is very, this is the all the standard articulation points in a big upscale Tobot transformer. It has all the articulation points of a modern Transformers toy. Yeah, the only nitpicks I have is that the toe key tends to pop off because it is so far off from the shoulder, the way it's rotated. But that's a simple fan mode fix, just put on the leg. And other than the toe key, he doesn't have any accessories. I would have liked to see an included Swiss Army survival MacGyver knife. But I suppose that would be just one extra part to keep track of and lose if you're reckless. And his secondary accolade is a very straightforward and clean vehicle mode and a very straightforward and clean robot mode with no obtrusive gimmicks. It's just a Transformer action figure. It's just an action figure. A very good, very great robot car action figure. Tune in next time for Tobot Space Guardian number 3.